Look around your classroom. If I asked you right now to guess what percentage of your classmates were born in this exact state, what would you say? 50%? 80%? But here's the real kicker. How confident are you in that guess? If you only ask 30 people, can you really be 95% sure that the ratio applies to the entire school?
By the end of this explainer, you are going to completely understand how to answer that. We'll cover the classroom problem, define our lab variables, find the interval, visualize alpha, and see what happens when we change our confidence level. Let's dive right in.
Section 1. The classroom problem.
Imagine you're holding a clipboard. You obviously can't survey every single person in the entire school. That would take way too long. So you start small. You walk up to the people right in front of you in your classroom and ask one simple, direct question. Were you born in this state?
Let's say you do this, and your raw data comes back looking like this. Out of everyone you asked, 60% said yes, they're locals, and 40% said no. That's your sample proportion. It's a great little snapshot. But if we want to use this localized snapshot to make a scientifically valid claim about the whole school, well, we need to mathematically map out our lab variables.
Section 2. Defining lab variables.
Let's break down the math. First up, we have the letter N. In statistics, N is just the total number of people you surveyed. So, if there are 30 people in your room and you successfully polled all of them, your N is exactly 30. Next is X. This is your specific target count, the exact number of students who actually answered yes to our survey question. If 18 out of those 30 students were born in the state, then boom, your X equals 18.
And that brings us to the star of the show, P prime, written as a capital P with a little tick mark. This is the estimated proportion derived from your sample. How do you find it? Super easy. Just divide X by N. In our mini example, 18 divided by 30 gives us a P prime of 0.6, or 60%. This is our absolute best single guess for the whole school, based entirely on our one classroom.
Section 3. Finding the interval.
But let's be real, a single guess isn't very reliable, is it? It's highly unlikely that the entire school is exactly 60.0% native-born. To create a range of numbers we can actually trust, we follow 3 structured steps. First, we collect the data, which we just modeled. Second, we find the interval and something called the error bound. And third, we describe what that interval actually means in plain English.
Now you might be asking, wait, what exactly is an error bound? I see students get stuck on this all the time. Think of the error bound conceptually as your margin of wiggle room. You know that plus or minus you constantly hear in political polls? That's it. If our estimate is 60%, but our math gives us an error bound of 10%, our interval stretches down to 50% and up to 70%.
Let's use a real-life analogy here. Building a 90% confidence interval is exactly like casting a fishing net into a lake. Your P prime, that 60% estimate, is the heavy weight right in the center of the net. The error bound represents how wide the net opens. We want our net wide enough so that we're 90% confident we'll actually catch the true proportion of the entire school's native-born students inside it.
Section 4. Visualizing alpha.
So if we're 90% confident we caught the truth, what happens to the other 10%? This is a crucial check on your understanding. How much area is in both tails combined? When we confidently set our net at 90%, we inherently have 10% left over. In statistics, this leftover probability, the agonizing chance that our net entirely missed the mark, is called alpha. Here, alpha is 0.10, or 10%.
Alpha is the total leftover area. But on a mathematical number line, we can miss the true proportion in 2 distinct ways. We could guess too high, or we could guess too low. So we have to split that risk perfectly in half. We take alpha and divide it by 2. 10% divided by 2 means there's a 5% area of risk in the upper tail and a 5% area of risk in the lower tail.
Section 5. Changing confidence.
Okay, what happens when we tweak the parameters of our experiment? Imagine constructing intervals for 50%, 80%, 95%, and 99% confidence levels. Before I tell you the answer, I want you to predict something. As we move from a low 50% confidence up to a near certain 99% confidence, what do you think is going to happen to the size of the error bound?
Does the width of the interval increase or decrease? Seriously, pause and think about this for a second, because this is a massive this is important moment for statistical thinking. If you want to be completely 99% sure that you've successfully caught the true proportion,
you're going to need a much bigger net. So, to explicitly answer the question, as the confidence level increases, the error bound must logically increase right alongside it. A 50% confidence interval might be pretty narrow and precise, say 55% to 65%. But a 99% confidence interval might stretch all the way from 40% to 80%. In statistics, you always sacrifice precision to gain certainty.
Before we wrap up, let's summarize the key takeaways by answering a classic challenge. How do you explain a confidence interval to someone who has never taken a statistics class? Put simply, a confidence interval is a range of likely values for a whole population. It's built entirely from a smaller localized sample, and it carries a specific mathematically calculated level of certainty. We rarely know the exact perfect truth, but through intervals, we can clearly define the neighborhood it lives in.
So here is my final challenge for you to take into the real world. How wide is your own classroom's interval? The next time you're in class, ask your peers where they were born, calculate your p-prime, and manually cast your own 90% confidence net. Once you have that raw data in hand, you'll be perfectly prepared for our next explainer, where we test rigorous hypotheses against exactly this kind of real-world interval. Until then, keep surveying